Hi guys, and welcome back to La Lucha Israel podcast. I'm your host Angel.
And I am Edith. And oh my god, let's address the elephant in the room.
Yes. Well, if you are watching us on YouTube, maybe they can't tell over Spotify.
Maybe you could tell by the audio.
Maybe.
I don't know. Does something sound different?
Edith, address the elephant in the room.
Guys. Well, if you're watching us on YouTube, you could see that our equipment has changed. By that I mean like we have these big old headphones on our and we could hear ourselves.
I know, it's like so weird. Honestly, I love this because when I go around without these headphones on, now I feel ghetto.
Yes, it's like this doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some people don't like hearing themselves talk though.
I get where that comes from, but I feel like at the beginning we didn't really like to hear ourselves talk, and then now that we've gotten so used to editing and like we're so used to it. But this takes it to a whole other level.
You can hear every little snap, crackle, and pop.
Like estamos respirando, and if you see me turning purple, it's because I'm trying not to breathe in the mic. Like this is like high definition.
Seriously, I'm over here trying not to sound like a fat girl.
I know. I'm like.
So if I cover my voice, that's why.
Yes. I don't know, guys. Like right here with the new equipment we bought. Basically, we could hear ourselves how you guys hear us. So we're like submerged into the audio.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole different experience.
It really is. So anyway, shout out to Bueno, who actually was the one who recommended the equipment.
Yes.
We reached out to them and they were kind enough to reply and recommended the equipment that we got. Well, not all of it, but like most of it.
Yeah.
And so let's see how it goes.
I know, guys. Like we even like if you're seeing this on YouTube, I don't know if we still don't know because we haven't edited this, but this is our first time filming with a new camera.
Yes.
And we'll see how this goes.
We'll see how it goes. But honestly, it feels good to like invest in yourself, I think, because this was not cheap. This was not cheap, and at first I was kind of like, oh my god, me duele el codo un poquito. Like un poquito.
A mí también, pero dije, honestly, like I feel like we want to take our podcast to a certain level, and for that we have to
start treating it as such. Like you want your project to be big, like you want to succeed. You have to start treating it as such, and that's what we decided to do. And like, and again, like you said, invest in ourselves too, because I feel like maybe not like recently, but I want to say even like years ago, like that. I feel like that was almost like a toxic trait of mine. Not a toxic trait. Like.
Explícale a la gente.
Yo bien acá, like, no me dolía to go, like, spend money, like, going out, drinking, buying food, like, no me dolía. Like, I would just be like, oh, I want these shoes, buy it. But then I'd be like, if I wanted to go to, like, let's say, like, a self-development conference, or, like, buying something that is gonna help me ultimately, or even,
like just for yourself.
Just for myself, or even going to therapy, I'd be like, oh, do I really want to spend that? Like, like I think about it twice because I'd be like,
like I could be spending this money for an experience to be with, like to share with somebody else.
Exactly.
You know? I'm the whole opposite. I don't want to say I'm the opposite, but I definitely I learned how to pretty much splurge on myself, and I do that a lot. And it could be a toxic. You know how you said it was a toxic trait for you to like not do it. And you're like learning to basically invest in yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a toxic trait of mine of over splurging on myself.
Okay.
I don't, sometimes I'm just like, shit.
Like, well, tampoco no me paso de verga, but like, you know.
Yo me paso de verga.
Like, I wouldn't like overdo it because I feel like I've always been pretty good with like not overspending, but it just hurt a little bit more to spend money on like even if I was gonna pay like $50 at the gym, I'd be like, oh, but that's $50, you know, like I could use for shoes or like, you know what I mean?
Cuando viene al gym, pues sí, ese sí, yo digo, $50 at the gym, $50 on clothes,
or like even a round trip flight to like San Francisco is less than $50.
Yes, girl. Then why you think I be going there all the time, bro? Like, I love San Francisco.
It like I mean, I'm not gonna, that's not my toxic trait now, but like, that was, I feel like a few years ago, that was not evolved angel. Okay, but now that's why I feel like I felt confident purchasing the new equipment.
Yes.
Like, at first I was kind of like, but then I'm like, you know what? Like, let's do it.
But I feel like that also comes, and we talked a little bit about it on last episode. It comes from that scarcity mindset.
Yes.
Because I feel like I was like, you know, también, y a veces todavía pienso así. You get me like, should I really, like, buy this for myself, or can I do something else, or like save the money or anything? Because sometimes, like, pero ya como lo pienso, I feel like money just flow. Like, that's how I think of it now. Like, you know, that's why I oversplurge on myself. That's why I oversplurge on myself, because I'm like, el dinero viene para atrás. Like, the money comes back.
Like, money, money flows in and out of me, and it's just gonna, it's gonna keep coming. You know, I feel like we have to, especially when it comes to money, I feel like the mindset that we've had growing up, it was totally different than my mindset is now. Like,
I could definitely agree on that. Yes, definitely.
I feel like you have to change your mindset on money. Like, you have to stop thinking of it as this evil thing, because if you keep thinking of money as a negative thing, like, no te va a salir bien with money. Like, you have to improve your relationship with money for it to, like, come, like, you know.
Yes, y cuando, like, for example, when I learned, because before I did have a very scarcity mindset on money. Like, it's hard to come by, like, I need to save everything, or it's gonna go to just bills, apenas me está alcanzando. Once I switched my brain and I was like, you know what? Like, money is energy. Like, money just flows to me. Money is gonna come easily. Whatever needs to get paid is gonna get paid. Like, I stopped looking at it like, oh shit, like, it's really hard to get, and I started looking at it as it's so easy. It just comes to me. You get me? And that's when I started seeing more abundance.
Yes.
Like, that's
too.
when you started seeing me going out a lot more. You started seeing splurging on myself a lot more, because I changed my mindset on money. And it's not saying like, oh my God, esta muchacha se está poniendo hella in debt, you know? Nah, like, I can afford everything that I do.
Yes.
Because I changed my mindset.
Yes, exactly. I feel like we can afford our lifestyle. Like, whatever we do, it's because we can afford our lifestyle. We're not going into debt for it. Like, I don't know. Like, it definitely, a few years ago, it was like a switch in my, like, brain, where I was like, I have to stop seeing money so negatively, because you know how, like, they say, like, oh, money changes you. Like,
I was gonna tell you, I was like, can you bring up that idea you had about money changing you?
So, like, people are like, oh, money changes you, like, people with money are evil, and like all that stuff, but I'm like, no. Like, it was like when I was going through, like,
when was this? Like,
I want to say like a few years ago.
Okay.
And this is when I was going through, like, my changes and everything. But, like, money does not change you. It exposes you. So, like,
let's take a moment to just take that in.
Yes, because people are like, oh, ever since they got wealthy, like, they changed. Just like, no. It's just exposing them. It's like money just magnified what was in their heart. Because
you can really hear my snaps now.
Because I have contacts in my phone, people that are super wealthy, and they're not evil people. They're actually quite the opposite. Very giving. They're very giving, and they give to charities, and they give, like, they think they have that abundant mindset.
Yes.
They're not penny pinchers. They're not, you know what I mean? Obviously, they have like a budget and everything. Like, they can afford the lifestyle that they have, but
money just amplified the person that they were already.
Exactly.
You get me?
Exactly.
So cuando la gente cambia, y vamos a decir they become bien codos, or they become evil or whatever, that's because they were already that person.
They were already that person.
They were just wearing a mask.
Exactly. It's those people that, like, let's say they buy you, like, a bag of chips, right? And, like, they buy you a bag of chips. Te van a cobrar esos $1.59.
Oh, I can't.
Whatever, right? They're those
can't.
people where, like, those people,
bro,
que están contando cada penny.
Yes.
Every penny, they're counting it. It's like those people. Those are the people that later on end up becoming the evil people that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because money exposed them. That's fucking crazy. Have you ever gone out with, like, friends or, like, family that it's like, you know how you go all together to eat, you split the bill, and they're so on the dot with the fucking cents?
Oh my fucking God.
I cannot go to dinner with you if that's you. I'm sorry, not sorry. I can't.
I cannot. Dude, I almost had an anxiety attack I think it was a few years. It was definitely
an anxiety attack?
Yes, because we went out for my sister's birthday. We went out for my sister's birthday, and it was like a marisco spot. Okay. So you know how marisco is expensive. Yeah. Seafood is expensive in general.
But it's a birthday. You like...
Yeah. Okay, well, it was like a fuck ton of us because it was like... I think it was like for sure minimum 10 of us. Oh, okay. So not too many, but 10. It was a large party for like going out to a restaurant. And al último, everybody's like getting their food, this and that. Y al último viene el cheque, right? And they like brought one bill. And everybody's over here fucking snatching the receipt back and forth. Like, hey, no, nos cobró mal, nos cobró extra de este que aquello. And everybody was like trying to figure out how the fuck they're gonna split this bill. Bro, me and Val were having so much fucking anxiety. We wanted to get up and walk out of there. Like, I almost wanted to just give them my card and be like, you know what? Charge everything on this card and then we'll figure it out outside of here. Because at this point, the waitress is like staring at us. Like, everybody's looking, like, we look ridiculous. Like, if you can't afford to go somewhere to eat, don't fucking go there.
Exactly. Even if they're like, and I know that we might, like, this could be like a controversial topic, you know? Mm-hmm. But I just, for real, like, if you can't afford it, just be truthful to whoever invited you, and they'll completely understand. Now, if you're penny pinching and everything like that, especially when you go to a restaurant, bro, and like, you're making it harder also on the waitress. If you put like a whole bunch of cards and you're like, oh, this amount to the cent is gonna be on this card, like, that's just making their life even more impossible. Like, and it's just embarrassing. I honestly, I can't.
It is.
I'm like you. I'm like, charge it all to my card, and then ahí se averiguan allá afuera. Like, why are we wasting time looking like this?
Honestly, I think you can ask my sister. I was goddamn near a freaking heart attack. Yeah. Because de toda la ansiedad. Because it just was like, oh my God, stop. And it was just like, and then they start arguing with the waitress.
Oh, hell.
They started arguing with her because they were like, oh, no. Nos cobró extra, sabe que acá, que esto, que aquello. And then they're like, ay, porque está tan caro. Ma'am. The waitress doesn't own the restaurant. She don't give a fuck. Like, she's just giving you what the receipt, like the ticket, whatever.
Exactly. The prices of the fucking restaurant as of right now. She does not have to do anything with como le pusieron los prices.
Yeah.
And you saw the menu before.
Exactly.
Going there. Like, before you ordered, you literally saw the prices, you know, or you could have asked for the prices, honestly, because some menus don't have prices.
Yeah.
And you decided to still order the plate and everything like that. Why are you making it such a big deal? For me, mira, this is how I see it. Like, when you go to a restaurant, it's a large group. Everybody gets around the same thing. I think it should just be split between other people, right? Usually put on like one card, and then you could pay everybody like Venmo or Zelle or anything. Like that one person. Like, why are you gonna put like a whole bunch of different cards?
Or sometimes like even the waiter or the waiters like ask you in the beginning, like, oh, is this gonna be separate bills? Yeah. That way they come prepared, and like they already give you like each bill, like cada quien va a pagar lo suyo.
Exactly.
Like,
pero si nomás a la waitress trae un bill, like, it's better to just put it on like one card, if anything, and then ya se averiguan afuera. Like, just split it right then and there, you know? But I know, like, some people are like, oh, no, I ordered, like, chicken. I didn't order, like, a steak like you, so I should be paying less type thing. And I'm the person that I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I could have ordered, like, 2 drinks. You could have ordered a whole meal. I'll still pay for, like, whatever 1/10 of whatever
it was.
It was, yeah. Like, I don't... Yeah. Just split it. I'm here to be with you, to celebrate, to anything. Like, I don't really... I don't know, bro.
But those are the people who usually, once, like, let's say they reach a wealthy lifestyle, those are the people that are like, money changes you, or like, money is evil, or whatever. Yeah. And like, if you keep having that mindset, like, you're probably not even gonna have an abundance of it.
Yeah, exactly. Damn.
We have to change our relationship with money.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like como te digo, for me, just speaking for myself, like, I've always, like, desde que estaba chiquita, I kind of, like, for me, the idea that money came to us was, like, hard, you know? Mm-hmm. So that's how I grew up. Like, I still had everything I've ever, like, I wanted or I needed as a little girl, pero my parents had that mindset and I had that mindset and I had to change it. But it didn't happen till like, I want to say till I was like 22 that I saw money very different.
Yeah. And I want to say the same for me too. Because you grow up and you see like, I feel like our parents almost had like I said, we had like our last conversation, they have that scarcity mindset of like, they're trying to hold on to every penny. They're trying to hold on to like, make sure that they have the money to pay for everything, you know? And it's just like, they don't see it as like a resource, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And it's like, it wasn't until I was older that like, I was like, I need to change the way that I see money. You know what I mean?
And it works. It just works. Like, even when I had, like, vamos a decir que apenas la estaba haciendo. You gave me, like, muy apenas, like, maybe ni me sobraba dinero del cheque. I would still see money like that. Like, it was just, it's gonna flow. It's gonna come to me. Like, this is getting moved to wherever it has to pay, but it's still gonna flow and come to me.
And then, don't you almost feel like you're presented with, like, other opportunities?
Yes.
To come into money in some way?
Like, somehow, like, no es como decir te vas a hallar $1,000,000 caminando tampoco.
No.
Pero vamos a decir like, oh, like out of nowhere, like, you know, you might get a random side hustle or you sell something like, or I don't know, somebody gives you $100 like here or $50, you know, like, I don't know, like it'll just start coming from random places that you didn't even think about.
Yeah. Yeah. But how did we get on this topic?
I don't... Oh, toxic... We're talking about a toxic trait?
Oh, I was just saying that was a toxic trait of mine years ago.
Well, what's another toxic trait? I mean, I like toxic traits. Let's talk about it.
Oh my God, we're getting deep already. Okay, so one of my toxic traits, and I feel like that is my lack of empathy. It sounds so terrible.
A little bit, but explain to them. Explain to them, because I know, but...
Okay. So, I'm not saying that I'm heartless.
She's heartless. I'm just kidding.
No, it's just like sometimes, okay, and I think maybe if you've seen all our episodes, there's an episode where I talk about like how some people se hunden en un vaso de agua, right? Or in English,
me literally just 30 minutes ago.
they drown in a cup of water, meaning like any little inconvenience, it's the end of their fucking world, and they're like, oh my God, this and that, and it's just like it turns their whole day upside down, and then they're in a bad mood or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Over any little inconvenience. And so like, yeah, so I feel like I have a lack of empathy because like people like that who it's like any little inconvenience, I'm like, I don't feel bad for you. I'm sorry, but move on. And like I feel like it's a toxic trait because I feel like I feel like I have to be more open-minded that like people process things differently, and I feel like I am kind of aware of it, but at like the core of me, I still don't feel bad for you.
Yeah.
Like and the reason why is because I've done a lot of self-reflecting, and the reason why I think that it's hard for me to feel bad for people, like of course, like if somebody has like cancer or like, you know, like if something is like a serious issue, like of course I feel bad, and I'm like, oh my God, like what can I do to help, you know, like yeah. I do genuinely feel sorry for people, but like I feel like when I started self-reflecting and I realized like, why does it piss me off? And again, I feel like it's my inner child, right? My inner child gets really mad when people have to depend on other people when it like they have any kind of small inconvenience, and then they're in a bad mood or whatever, and it's like their whole world gets turned upside down, right? I feel like my inner child gets mad because when I was younger, I didn't really have anybody to go to. Like I had to deal with all of my problems by myself. Like, my mom worked 2 jobs. My dad wasn't very present in my life. And then my sister was, like, doing her own thing. Like, we were cool and close, but I just didn't feel comfortable going to my sister with, like, issues that like, things that were going on. Like, I just didn't feel comfortable. And even, like, you can ask my family, like, something bad could happen to me, and then I will just bring it up casually. Like, the time that I got run over by a car. Okay? So, I was like...
still remember when you told me this.
So when I was in like 5th grade, okay, I don't want to tell the whole story, but like I got ran over by a car. I was on my bike and I got ran over by a car, and then I'm just like, should I just tell the story?
Yeah, just tell me.
Okay, so when I was in 5th grade, I used to ride my bike to school, and one day I was running late, and so I was like over here pedaling, trying to get to school like ASAP. And then there's this house like around the corner, not around the corner, kind of a little bit more down, and they had this giant bush in the front, and it blocks like the sidewalk, and you, from the angle that I was coming, you couldn't see the driveway. So I'm over here going to school on my bike, pedaling super fast, and then this car was backing out of their driveway. And of course, because the bush is there, like the hedge, they didn't see me coming. So when they backed out, they just hit me right. They like backed into me, and it doesn't sound like, oh, they hit me hard, but like it was hard enough for me to like tumble over. Like I fell over.
Yeah.
And
so
tell me,
Angel, instead of crying and being like, what the fuck?
so like I'm over here like under the car at this point, because tell me why the guy didn't even knew, like he didn't even realize that he hit me. He kept backing up. So I'm over here like on the floor tirada, like late, and I'm like in shock of what just happened. So I'm not even screaming or panicking. Like I feel like any normal person would panic.
That's
right?
what I'm saying. Like any normal person would have been like, "What the fuck?" Like, or screamed or something. Or screamed
or panicked. No, Angel. Little 10-year-old Angel's laying there and just looking up at the sky like what just happened. And then the car's still backing up, and because my bicycle was kind of blocking the tire a little bit, he couldn't back up. So then he stopped the car and he gets off, and then he like comes to like see what the hell. He comes, oh my god, the look of his face was so priceless, because he looks at me, his eyes widened up so big, and he was like, oh my god, are you okay? And he starts panicking and freaking out. And I'm over here just looking at him under the car, because so he like runs into the car, and then he like pulls forward so that I can like not be under the car. And he comes back out and he's like trying to help me up, and I'm over here like, oh my god, I'm gonna be late to school. So then I'm like, what time is it? I'm like, what time is it? And he's like, oh, whatever time. And I'm like, oh my god. And I like get on my bike and go to school. And then come to realize I forgot my fucking lunchbox, so I had to come all the way back for it. And then the guy's standing there like confused, because he's like, what just happened? And he's just like, he sees me coming back, and he had my lunchbox in his hand. And then I'm like, oh, thank you. I just grabbed it and I went to school. My ass was not like, let me go home. You know, like my ass was just like, I need to get to school. Like the goal is get to school.
I fucking can't.
Because I was like, I don't want to be tardy. So I got to school, right? And that day my mom ended up picking me up from school because we had to do something. So I like put my bike in her car. We're like on the road, we're like going home, and then my mom's like, oh, ¿cómo te fue? Like, how was school, whatever, right? So I'm over here telling her about my day, and then I was like, oh my god, my knee's hurting a little bit. And then she's like, ¿qué pasó? ¿Te caíste? Like, did you fall? And I'm like, no. I was like, you know what? I got hit by a car this morning. I was like, and then I was late to school, and then I just start telling her like my day, and then she like brakes so hard in the middle of the road, and she like turns around and she starts freaking out, because I think she was like, and she was mad at me because I'm over here casually like, yeah, I got hit by a car. And like, and she's over here freaking out because I got hit by a car. Like, it just, the gravity of it wasn't so serious to me. Like, that's it was crazy. More like, I got hit by a car, okay, I'll deal with it. And then I'm over here like, I'll just put some arnica on it when I get home.
Put that shit on there.
So like, I'm good. So, you see what I mean? Like, it's just, you can ask my family, like things have happened in my life, and I just casually, I'm like, oh yeah, this happened to me. And it's just because I feel like for the most part, yeah, my mom, you know, like she was there for me, but a lot of times I'm like, I didn't really like bringing these things up, because whenever she was around, I didn't want to talk about negative stuff. I didn't want to talk about like what made me sad, or like the stuff that was happening in my life. Yeah. Like I didn't want to talk about it, because I feel like we could be talking about other things. Like I didn't want to make it a big deal. But then again, that's like, it was a disservice to myself to not be more open about the shit that was going on in my life, and like openly talk about it. Because like now, like I feel like looking back at it, it's just like, no little kid should be dealing with the kind of shit that I did and just like internalizing everything, because I feel like that's why I ended up becoming very angry. I became very angry as a child that like I had no doors. Like I didn't have a door in my room. I didn't have closet doors because I would like lash out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it just like now it's just like that. I feel like now as an adult, like it's very hard for me to feel bad for people when shit happens, and then I'll be like, I'm a solution seeker, right? Like something bad happens to somebody, I'll be like, oh well, you could do this, you could do, like my mind instantly goes to like, how can I fix the problem? Yeah. And they're like, you meet those people that they don't care about the solution, they just want to
vent, they just want somebody to hear them, I guess,
or wallow in their sorrow. And then people are be like, but, and then they give you every excuse, and I'm just like, all right, I don't feel bad for you. I just, you know what I mean? And this is like,
it's talking about me, guys.
No, it's just like, I know, like I realize that like it is kind of a toxic trait not to feel bad for people, because like people process things differently, and people, you know, like it's just like everybody's experiences are different. It's just like I know that like my inner child gets mad because like I didn't really have anybody there, like growing up, like I didn't have anybody there to help me or for me to like talk things out.
So you're like, why can't you just make it work?
Yeah, like why can't you it's just like in my head I'm just like, just like, fucking figure it out.
Why are you telling me this when you're wasting time and you could be working it out yourself?
Exactly. Like it's just like in my head I'm like, just work it out. Like it just annoys me sometimes when people tell me about their issues, and some of in my head I'm like, that's an easy solution.
Exactly.
Like, but no, like some people like want to feel through these emotions, or honestly, I don't know what the reason is that why people don't want a solution right away to their issues. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe that's their toxic trait. But
that's their toxic trait.
Hey, me over here deflecting. but yeah, I feel like that's mine is like my lack of empathy for people. Of course, if it's like a huge thing where like they just lost a parent or like cancer, you know, like it's like something as like algo bien grave, like I feel like yes, I can feel bad for people, like shit, I'm sorry you're going through that.
But if it's something like simple, like not simple, but like something that is not that bad, or it's like a first world problem, like the one that I was telling you 30 minutes ago, you're like, bro,
I mean, of course, like I feel like I've been practicing like not being so blunt about like what my mind is thinking, because of course in my mind I'm like, bro, just get over it.
Yeah,
not to your situation in like specifically, but I mean in like general, like when something is like, are you seriously are you gonna let, like, it's one bad moment, not a bad day. Like that's also been my mentality, is like if something bad happens, it's a bad moment, not a bad day. Like don't make 5 minutes stretch out into 12 hours.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
I know, like I'll tell you that from experience, because sometimes like I'm like half and half on that one. Like sometimes I'm really good at being like, you know what, I'm not gonna let this issue bother me. Like if it doesn't matter in 5 years, then why am I putting so much thought into this?
Yeah,
you get me? But then there's days that it's like, today, like I was having such a good day, bro, y luego me pasó en una span of like an hour, and now I'm just like, oh shit, this ruined my whole day. And that's when I have to be like, Edith, like, first of all, first world problems, you're having an issue of buying a plane ticket just because it's a little bit of a higher price. Like, girl, get over it. Get over it. And it's like things like, sometimes I just have to say it out loud, like when I was telling you, for me to be like, Edith, like, what are you doing?
Snap out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree with that. With like when one little issue, like you extend it for a whole period of time and you wallow into it, that's just why. Like, why?
Yeah.
Si hay solución, si it's not like a life or death shit, you know, like your bills are paid, you know, like why are you gonna wallow over it?
Yeah, but again, I'm trying not to like, I'm trying to have a little.
You worked a lot on that lack of empathy, because I feel like before it was a little bit like, you know, like you were like, get over it type shit, and now like I feel like you're learning more to like, kind of, I don't want to say sympathize, but in a way sympathize, like, like just kind of like be like, you reconoces that everybody is like different, or like everybody was brought up different, so maybe like what for you might not be like a big problem, you understand that maybe for them it is. And you kind of...
And again, I also like have to remember, and this is why I feel like I've been better about it. I have to remember that not everybody has lived what I've lived through.
Yeah.
So like for them, it like maybe they grew up with everything being handed to them. That like for them it is the end of the world, you know, because they were so like everything was handed to them that they didn't learn how to get stuff by themselves or how to get something themselves, you know?
Yeah.
So like I have to remember, I have to keep, and I feel like I've definitely worked on it, but I still see it there sometimes and I still get like kind of irritated with myself. I'm like, why are you like this?
Yeah. Cause I feel like I could, I know where you're coming from, but I could definitely relate to the person that it's like not everything handed to them, honestly, but I was pretty spoiled, you know? Like my parents, I said it before, 2-parent household. My dad has always been the breadwinner. My mom has always been a stay-at-home mom, so she's always been there for me. So it's like any little issue, any little problem, my mom's the go-to. You get me? So that's why for me, a la mejor uno de los problemas que yo tengo, like, might be like, oh, like, something tiny for you, or, like, something, but for me, I look at it different, because I was so used to going and getting help. You get me? Like, or, like, estoy tratando de verlo en las dos maneras, you get me? So I feel like I understand when a person sometimes se hunde en el vaso de agua, you get me? Because I'm like, because I feel like at some points, sometimes that could be me, you know, like, even though I try to snap myself out of it, but I understand both points of views.
But I think we've reached that 30-minute mark. Damn, that was really fast.
Yeah.
I feel like I say that every time.
Yeah,
but it's kind of, you know, the conversation gets real good.
I know.
All right, guys, we're going to take a brief break and we'll be right back.
And we're back. Dun, dun, dun.
I bet, Edith, I told our friends my toxic trait. Let's hear yours.
I think, first of all, I have a lot of toxic traits. I'm just kidding. I'm perfect. I'm just kidding. I feel like I've done a lot of self-work this past year. And it's not saying that I don't have any, but I definitely have mejorado. But I feel like one that has always been there, and it's very, very hard to, I don't want to say fix, but fix in a way, would be how self-critical I am. Like, to the point where it could be very negative. Like, for example, like, you're not doing enough. You're not doing it right. Who do you think you are? Type shit. Like that. Like, en mi mente, sigo corriendo, like, al 100 a veces, de que, like, just not believing in myself, and having those thoughts, like, you're not even doing it right. You're not where you're supposed to be. You're not, like, you're 27. What the fuck are you doing?
What? Are you okay?
No. I held my breath. It's just micrófonos, bro.
Like, you're over here like, I'm not trying to heavy breathe on the...
I'm not even... Should we cut this?
No.
I knew it.
We're gonna keep going.
Bro, es que estaba tratando de no respirar en el micrófono y me salía ahogando. Les dije que me iba a poner purple. Y'all were seeing me red.
I'm over here like, are you okay?
No. But yeah, I feel like I'm very self-critical, and it's always been desde chiquita. Like, I mean, when I was smaller, I feel like it was easier because I'm like, you could do it, whatever. But I feel like the older I got, the harder I got on myself. And it's to the point where sometimes, like, I think it got to a certain point where it's like, it led me to depression, to anxiety, just because I kept on thinking of how I wasn't good enough. I couldn't do it. I wasn't doing it right. I wasn't where I was supposed to be. Because in my mind, I had a timeline. You get me? Like, I had to be at this certain spot by this time, and I feel like a lot of people could relate to that. You know, like, oh, pa 22 ya voy a estar casada con 4 hijos. I don't fucking know. Like, I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
And I wasn't where I wanted to be, or it wasn't who I thought I was gonna be at that age when I was, like, little, you know, like So I feel like that I'm still working on, but it's still a very...
And I feel like it's very hard to get out of that because I feel like maybe we were conditioned to be hard on ourselves desde chiquitos.
Maybe.
Because, like, I feel like especially when you're young, like, I don't know about you, but, like, I feel like our parents were like, go to school, get good grades, and it's like, you can't come home with a low grade. Because then,
Exactly.
I mean, you get your ass whooped or...
Not even...
You get yelled at.
I would get yelled at.
Or you get yelled at. I mean, I didn't get my ass whooped, but then again, I was always kind of like a good student, so I mean, I didn't have to deal with that, but
I feel like I always had to like, oh, well, you have to be the best at whatever you could be. Like, it also like very toxic to me, like, you know, because it got to the point where it's like I tried so hard and I wasn't where I wanted to be, and that's when I was even harder on myself, like, what the fuck do you mean that you can't do it? What the fuck do you mean that you're not at the point you're supposed to be? Like, what are you doing wrong when I literally had tried my best, everything that I could, yet I wasn't where I wanted to be? And I feel like that, for me, was very toxic, that mentality, because en vez de decir, okay, it didn't work out, you're good, like, I could have been like, I could have tried something else, or kept on trying, you know, that would stop me, and I just fucking completely just drop. You get me? Like, my world would just come tumbling down.
yeah, I feel like that was I can definitely relate to that because I feel like sometimes it's like, bro, what do you mean? Like, I gave it my all. How come I didn't get the results that I wanted? Like, exactly. What the fuck do you mean? And then this person over here, yo me amargaba, because I feel like I've definitely worked on it and I'm better at this. But like, yo luego antes me amargaba when I would see somebody, Joe over here, strolling through and then le sale bien. And I'd be like, what the fuck? I'm over here staying up till 5 a.m, or like doing this, doing that, like blood, sweat, and tears, and no me sale. Yeah. Or I'm not the best, or I'm not this, or I'm, you know what I mean? Or I didn't get the results that I wanted. I'd be so fucking pissed off at myself. Like, I'd be like, I need a fucking moment. Like,
yeah, exactly. And it's like, and even it was to a point where it's like, sometimes like, let's say I didn't even try everything I could, yet I would still be so hard on myself knowing that there was still options out there. You get me? Like, for example, like, I want to be, like, yo quería llegar a un cierto lugar by this certain age, right? Mm-hmm. But I know deep down that I didn't try to my full potential. Mm-hmm. And I was being so hard on myself because I'm like, why did you just give up on yourself? Like, why are you doing this wrong? Why are you like... And for me, therapy helped a lot with that because, and I'm still constantly working on it because I feel like we're put like on this timeline by society, like, by this age you should be doing this, by this age you should be doing that. It's like an unwritten timeline type thing que no deberíamos obviously to be like even comparing ourselves to, but I feel like at the same time, like, for example, me, I do, you know, like, even though I'm like, okay, everybody has their own like path, everybody goes their own way and everything like that, but I feel like, and I'm trying my best to still think like, you know, I have my own path, I have my own way, like, I'm doing things how they benefit me. It's not how on somebody else's timeline, you know? But I still go back sometimes to that way of thinking, like, I should have been doing this by this age already. Like, why am I not there? It's constant work. It's not saying like, for example, like how I said, it's not something that could easily fix, you know, like, oh shit, it's broken, let's fucking fix it, you're good. No, I feel like it's something that, honestly, for me, I feel like it's always going to be there. I don't think I could ever get rid of that, but I feel like I could get better at the way I think about it. So
that's true, because I feel like before it was a little more crippling, where like sometimes I'd get so pissed off at something that they're like, yeah, no podía hacer nada, like I couldn't do anything else. Or sometimes like I was so hard on myself too that like if I knew that I wasn't going to be the best out of it, or I wouldn't be the best at it, I wouldn't even try. Yep. Like I would like, but then again, it's just like, even just like years ago when I was kind of like, you know, trying to reflect a lot and grow as a person, like I realized that like, well, how did I expect to be the best at something if I had never even done that? You know what I mean? Like you don't become Michael Jordan overnight. Michael Jordan didn't even become Michael Jordan overnight. He was, what was he, like, cut from his middle school basketball team? You know what I mean?
Oprah
Like,
didn't become Oprah overnight.
Like, it takes hard work, and I feel like I think because I grew up like already being good at certain things that came more easy to me and like naturally easy to me, that whenever I saw something that I was a little bit intimidated by it, I wouldn't even try it because I didn't want to see myself fail.
Yeah.
And like I'd be so hard on myself for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could definitely understand. I mean, I feel like I had a lot of fear of failing before.
And I think it's, and I don't know about you, but like and I'm sure you'll probably relate to this, but like I feel like for me, it stemmed from the fact that like I never wanted to let my mom down. I never wanted to let her down because it's just like, because then like all her sacrifices were what, for nothing. Like it just feel like I put so much pressure on myself because like I was just like thinking, my mom came to this country, she's gone through so much shit, she works 2 jobs, and then sometimes she sells tamales, sometimes she cleans houses. Like my mom has done so much shit and constantly kept busy, and like she was mentally and physically tired, and I constantly saw it. So I was so hard on myself because I was like, the last thing my mom needs is to be disappointed in her daughter. And that makes me emotional because it's like, I was just so hard on myself because I'm like, the last thing my mom needs is for her daughter to be getting bad grades at school. I did not want to give my mom that extra stress because I knew she was under a lot of pressure, and I didn't want all her sacrifices to be for nothing. And I feel like that's why I was really hard on myself.
That fear.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because it's like, I feel like for me as well, like disappointing my parents was probably why I didn't want to fail, why I wanted to get good grades. Of course, like towards the end of high school, I kind of just, that was a whole different, I was just going through some fucking shit. But throughout like most of my schooling, like I that's true. Like, why am I gonna worry my parents with bad grades? Like, when I can like try my best, give them good grades, and that's one less thing they even have to like put their mind to or anything like that. And just making them proud, like that's the thing about, like for me, like just wanted to make them proud and not disappoint them. And that's why I had that fear of failure, but it was crippling fear of failure, you get me?
Yeah.
So when I failed for the first time, I feel like that's when the voices started, you know, when I started being very self-critical. That's when I feel like I don't know if it's when it started, but I feel like it's definitely when it amplified.
Yeah.
When I was like, oh shit, like what are you doing? Like, why are you being this difficult? Why are you doing this? And of course it's like, I'm on, ya estoy poquito mejor, but I feel like a lot of first gen kids have that thing where it's like, I don't want to disappoint my parents. Like, I don't want to make their life harder. Like, we start thinking about like, how can we help them in any way, even if it's just a little thing of like, about getting good grades or anything like that. But then it's like a, ¿cómo se dice? I can't think about it, not double-edged sword, but sometimes it could be like crippling, like you get me, to the point that it just affects you in a negative way.
Yeah. And I feel like as first gen, I mean, everybody's different, but I feel like as first gen kids, I feel like that's just not a burden, but like that's just something we carry with ourselves even more than like you know, like a second gen, right? Because they're not gonna have to go through all of the things that they had to when we were kids, right? They're not gonna have to worry about translating shit for us. They're not gonna have to worry about, like, they're not gonna feel like, they're not gonna have that mentality of like, I have to succeed, because then everything that my mom and my dad did was for nothing. They don't have that extra like baggage of like,
it's like pressure, bro.
It's a pressure. Like you are so hard on yourself because you're like, yo tengo que salir adelante para sacar a mis padres adelante. Like your parents don't have retirement plans. You are their retirement plan. So like, it's just like a pressure of like, failing is not a fucking option. So I'm totally with you on being hard on myself, because I feel like I've been very hard on myself remember, I didn't even know how to relax.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like con la edad, and I guess we become wiser, and you know, we start recognizing those certain like things about us that like affect us. We start digging into it, and we start slowly trying to fix or trying to like work on that. And I'm not saying it's I don't think it's ever gonna, honestly, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think it's ever gonna not be there. Yeah. You get me? Like, that pressure of not failing, not trying to fail, and always, like, the self-critical and everything like that. Like, the fear of failing, I feel like it's always gonna be there, but I could diminish it slowly. But I feel like it's
I mean, but at the same time, like, you don't want it to go away, right? Because that is also what's going to keep motivating you and pushing you forward. Could you imagine if you just, like, never, like, you never had fear of failure? Like, yeah, or, like, not fear of failure, but, like, if you were just...
I just wish I didn't fear failure, because I feel like fearing failure is not what it should be. It should be like, okay, we're gonna fail. That's inevitable.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like looking at it more so like a learning process instead of like it's gonna cripple me. You get me? Like, this is done. Like, I'm not like putting yourself down because of that failure. No, it's like, okay, this didn't work out. I learned this, and this from here. Okay, let's move on to next thing. So
yes,
I would like. It's not saying like, oh my god, like you should feel like, I don't feel like we should fear failure, but definitely change our mindset towards failure.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Like, you have to switch your mindset about failure, because honestly, I've said this to myself many, many times where I'm like, I either win or I learn. I never fail, because I'm not going to... I feel like failure is completely giving up.
Yes.
And I'm not that person. I'm not that person to ever fully give up on anything. So I've always told myself, you either win or I learn. So it's like, I feel like that's where my mindset has shifted to, where I don't see as like me not getting the end result that I wanted as failure. I see it as a learning experience, because I'm like, okay, now I know not to do it this way. You know
okay, I mean? So let's go back to the drawing board and try something else.
Exactly.
But I feel like at certain points in my life, like, especially when I first started failing, because of that pressure that I was like, I can't fail, I fear failure, like I have to succeed no matter what. And when I first failed, it crippled me really bad, because I was like, shit, like, first of all, the feeling itself was crippling, and it was unknown, you get me? And I didn't know how to cope with it because I feared it so much. But now, like, it's obviously gotten a lot better, and I've fallen a lot of times. But every time I fall, it feels a little bit less of fear. You know, I start learning more. Like, okay,
you get up a little faster too.
Yeah, you get up faster,
and it comes with age too, because you're just like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I had imagined it to be.
Yeah,
you know, like, you ever try something and then you're like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like we weren't taught that. We weren't, which is crazy, because our parents took one of the biggest risks of all by coming to a new country where they don't even speak the language.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But I don't exactly. But we weren't taught that though.
But yeah,
and it's something we had to learn on our own.
But at least we can change things, right? Like, for the generations coming after us.
Poquito.
Poquito.
I know. Damn, this sounds like ASMR, bro.
Yeah, this sounds good. I like this. Oh my god.
What would you say another toxic trait of yours is?
Oh my god, girl, I did not come prepared for 2.
You're like, I only had one.
Another toxic trait. Fuck, I hate being put on the spot.
Damn, bro.
What's another one of yours?
I feel, and I think we talked a little bit about it, but I feel like with trust, it's been a fucking not limbo, but it's been like, what is that fucking ding dong called?
What's a ding dong called?
Bitch. What is that thing called? Like a seesaw? Like a fucking goes up and down.
It's a seesaw.
Oh, there we go. Fucking seesaw. First gen, bro. I'm over here trying to fucking find words. Anyways, I feel like it's been a seesaw type thing, because I feel like before I was so trusting, and that trust, it was toxic. You get me? Like, I'm not saying that like trusting is toxic itself, but I feel like overly trusting, and just like, it was to the point where I used to get like, basically como me tenían pa allá y pa acá, you get me? Like, I was just like a doormat in a way, because I was so trusting. And then my stuff changed, life changed, and then my trust went to like, I don't trust no one. And I feel like that's toxic too, and I've been working on it a lot better, but I feel like it's to the point where it's like, it's so hard for me to kind of like put trust in people. Like, even though like out of the goodness of my heart, and my inner child is very trusting. I want to, but at the same time, it's like shit. Like I can't. I've been working on that though.
See, and I started out the total opposite. Growing up, I was like, I don't trust anybody. Don't trust. And I feel like it's because my mom pounded that into me and my sister. Like, my mom growing up was like, don't trust anybody. No confíes en nadie. Like, you got yourself type of thing. Like, you only trust yourself. And it was just kind of like ingrained to me growing up. So I never trusted anybody. And I grew up with this mentality of like, I can't trust anybody. So because I kept thinking that, like, I couldn't trust anybody, I feel like I almost, it was like what is it called? A self-fulfilling prophecy, where like, you know, you keep thinking that you're gonna come by, you think everybody is untrustworthy, so that's all you're gonna come across, only untrustworthy people. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're gonna attract. If you keep having that mentality of like, oh my god, everybody is so untrustworthy, that's how you're gonna attract. Yeah, that's all that you're gonna attract into your life. Yeah, because you keep, the mind doesn't see negative and positive. It only sees what you're like, it only focuses on the thing that you are thinking about. And if you keep thinking about untrustworthy people, that's all that you're gonna attract. And I feel like I grew up, and like honestly till this day, like it's still very hard for me to like be vulnerable with people and like allow people in and trust people, because I just feel like it was so bad that growing up, when people fucked me over, I'd be like, oh, I saw it coming.
You see?
And it was, but honestly, I think it had to do more with I think I was detached. I think it also had to do with detachment, because I feel like if I already didn't trust them and they hurt me, it's not gonna hurt as bad. It was more like I was trying to protect myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And I was the whole opposite. Like, my parents were very big on, like, they never said don't trust anybody. Al contrario, they were like, you know, people are out there that are good people. You know, you have to just be nice, be kind. People are going to be kind to you. You got to be like, basically, not don't trust anybody. Like, they never told me that. They basically said, in a way, without saying it, like, trust. Like, you just have to trust whatever. And I did for most of my childhood. And then life fucking showed me, like, it really, like, I think I hit a fucking wall. And that's when I was like, oh shit, I can't trust. And me myself and I, in my head, I was like, I can't trust nobody after, like, shit happened with my life.
It kind of goes back to what you were saying before, because you've never experienced being like
failure,
you've never been betrayed in such a way that, like, it just was like, oh shit, like, it was kind of like a shock to you. So then you were like, oh my gosh, so you did a whole 180 and you're like, okay, I'm not gonna trust anybody now.
Yeah, like, and it's like
self-preservation.
Yeah, but it gets to a point where it's very toxic, because then I became very detached. I didn't really acknowledge other people's feelings. And I talked about this in another episode. That was when I went like through like a fuck girl kind of phase, where it's like I couldn't, like, even though like I couldn't get involved emotionally with people, because I didn't, first of all, I didn't want to trust. Second of all, I really was very detached. I was very detached, and even with life, when it came to friends and everything like that, it was the same way. And then I was like, then I had to go to therapy and kind of fix that shit, because it was not, yo sabía que no me estaba beneficiando para nada. And I still, hasta este día, it's still one of my toxic traits that I'm still working on. But it's definitely improved a lot, but it's still a work in progress, especially when it comes to like romantically, because I feel like I fixed more so like my professional and my friendships and everything like that in the way of trust. But romantically, it's still a big work in progress.
I mean, and it makes sense why you would feel that way after what you've been through. Like, it makes sense, you know. But again, like you said, at least you're working on it.
Yeah, and I can't let like one experience determine how the rest of my life is gonna be. You get me? Like, exactly. Or how I'm gonna like approach the rest of my life. You know, like, so that's what I'm working on. Sooner or later, it's gonna be better. But
I've worked on it too. I feel like I feel like I'm that person that's like, all right, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt type of thing. And then, yeah, like, your actions are going to speak for themselves type of thing. And, like, la gente se va a revelar. Like, they're going to... Se revela. Like, they're going to reveal themselves to me. And it's...
That's how my mind has... Because I feel like at the beginning, it was kind of like that.
Damn, these headphones keep falling.
It was like, oh, like, let me give you the benefit of the doubt, you know, whatever. And then something would go wrong. Oh, let me give you a second chance type thing. And that's how I was so trustworthy.
And then you would give another one.
Another one. And then, of course, 180, bro. I'm like, I'm not even giving you the benefit of doubt. Cut. You get me? Like, you already showed me a glimpse of a red flag. Cut. You get me? Like, and obviously it's not the best, you know? But I feel like now I'm more so like, let me give you the full benefit of the doubt. And then if you do something that kind of is kind of weird, then I'm like, you know what? It's better not to move on. So.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my God, I can keep talking about my toxic traits, but I think we're at an hour already, no?
Yeah, I think so.
Damn it. I had a good story to follow this up, but you know what? We just might have to talk about it next time. Yeah, because I was about to say, let me talk to you about why I'm glad you brought up, like, trust issues as a toxic trait, because it was so bad when I was younger. So bad. It was really bad. But, you know, maybe that's another day.
another topic for another day.
Yeah. But anyways, this was a good conversation. I hope you guys, I don't know, enjoyed it, got something out of it.
It wasn't it was definitely more on the deeper side.
It was. Yeah. My chillona ass over here almost cried.
I know. I'm over here like hella mocuda, like mocosa. Fuck, I can't even talk. No sé ni de aquí ni de allá, como dicen. But yeah. Y ahora pueden oír todo, bro.
Yeah.
I can't even burp and pee. Así, you know, like, casi me ahogué cuando estaba hablando. O sea, cuando puedo respirar. Ay, Dios.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Catch us next week.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, at La Lucha is Real Podcast.
Yes, subscribe to YouTube too. I just also wanted to give everybody a reminder. We are going to do a giveaway once we reach 500 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed, go hit subscribe, because you will have to be subscribed to our YouTube channel in order to qualify for the giveaway. And also follow us on IG so you can get more information. But I feel like this was a good episode.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Except for the fact of me almost
passed out.
But
But I'm glad you're still here with us. Yes. So anyways,
ya los dejamos.
Ya los dejamos. So what do we say? Besitos, bendiciones, que Dios los bendiga. Adiós.
Bye guys.
Bye guys.